Hey everybody, it's Wesley, and this again is a response video to a video that Raina put up. And Raina's idea is to get together and do a video together, or a series of videos together, kind of like a talk show, and just kind of cover trans issues and our views on both those things, you know. So the view from her side, obviously male to female, and my view from female to male, and, you know, just how, you know, what our thoughts on that. And then she has big ideas for the channel, so once we get it underway, we'll of course probably announce it and then just kind of go from there. So, but until then, I'll just keep doing what I do, which is respond to what she puts up. And then hopefully eventually I'll think of something to put up on my own. But anyway, so the last video that she has is about coming out and about sexuality. And so, I mean, mine's kind of short and sweet to the point. As I said in previous videos, I can't necessarily think of when I ever felt that I was born in the wrong body or anything specific like that. I just always felt comfortable being me, and, you know, whatever that really entailed at the time, kind of thing. And since I did not know, forgive me, it's late and my eyes are bugging me, you know, it's not to say that I didn't think about it, I just didn't know what I was thinking about, you know. Again, it's like when I came out as being a lesbian, you know, I had these feelings, but I didn't have a word to go with it, and I just knew it was different than what everyone else felt. And that's kind of the same thing with transgender. Is, again, you know, looking back, I'm like, yeah, I have those thoughts. I mean, I used to have for years, until I, you know, came out. So this was just, you know, till a couple years back. Ever since I was little, I remember having a reoccurring dream where I built like a phone box, and, you know, like the one that Superman would go into and change into his uniform. Well, I built one of these, and it was out in the middle of nowhere on a big hill, kind of like, if you ever look up Kate Bush cloud bursting, her video where she takes, you know, the big cloud bursting machine and they put it on a hill, kind of like that. It was on a hill in the middle of nowhere, and I don't know how this person knew I invented it, but this person would go there and would dial a phone number thinking, you know, they're going to call somebody, and it changes them into a man. Somehow they knew that I made it, and they came to me and they complained, and they're like, you need to change me back, you need to change me back. And I'm like, why? Like, I invented the thing to change you to a man, or people to men, but not necessarily change it back, because, you know, I was going to use it for myself. But, you know, in my dream that seemed perfectly normal, you know. And then I often would have dreams of shape-shifting, and when I got older, one of the catches is that I could shapeshift, but only for so many hours, and if I stayed, or for so many days, if I stayed in that form for X amount of days, I would permanently stay in that form. And the cool thing about it was that I would have a clone, and that clone would know everything that I knew, and then when I shapeshifted back, I'd get all those memories. Well, in those dreams, I usually had a crush on someone I knew, and I would introduce the male version of me that I shapeshifted into as my cousin or something, and the girls would always fall head over heels for this cousin because he knew everything I knew, and basically I was acting out how I wanted to be, you know, charming, romantic, and, you know, how I would be if I was a guy. And so what I always did in the dreams is I would eventually confess. The people would be upset for a little bit, but eventually they would agree, and they understood, and then I would shapeshift one last time into male, stay that form. My clone would go on and lead my life as a female, and I would be as a male, and it was great, and I loved it. So, I mean, I always had that recurring dream. I mean, those two dreams ever since I was little, and I remember them clear as day. So, you know, that was my way of myself telling me about it before I even had any word for it. And I mean, the word transgender never really came up into my life until in my 20s, And then it turns out one of my high school friends, her mother transitioned later in life, and that was my first exposure to it. But I never saw him. So, but I was like, yeah, that's great. Good for him. But so for me coming out as transgender, the way I did it is I kind of came out to myself, and I was fine with that. I had no real big issues with it, and I just didn't know the steps to take to move forward in transitioning. So it took me a little bit. My partner, when we met online. So I just told her online. I said, hey, look, this is my plan, and if you are accepting, great, and if not, I understand, we can still stay friends. And she was accepting. When it came to my family, I told my cousin via a email. I'm not really close to my family. We have little pockets that I'm close to, and that's about it. So I told her, and she was very supportive. I told my chosen family, some high school friends, which have been really close to me, and they were accepting. Most everybody I either told through email or through Facebook. My mother I told through a letter, and I was going to tell her face-to-face on a visit, but I just never got around to it, and so I decided to write her a letter and told her when she had any questions or anything to just call me. I also sent her a book called, what was that book I sent her? Just Add Hormones, I believe is what I sent, because it was from a female to male point of view, and it was very easily written, easy to understand. Had some insight and had some scientific stuff in it. So my mom took it very well. And the only real family member I haven't told was my father, but we're not really that close. I told my brother via email before I told my mother, and he was also very accepting. And he said he always thought something was a little different, so that was cool. My father, like I said, I haven't told. I really don't know how I would tell him. I'm debating on introducing him to my YouTube channel, because we're not really close, and he's almost like a stranger to me anyway. So to let him see my YouTube channel and the videos I have made, would suffice for me. And then if he has any questions, he can get a hold of me. People at work, I just kind of told. And again, I think because I am female to male, it is easier for other people to accept it more than they do, let's say, Raina. Now, as far as sexuality goes, I agree with Raina. I believe that you are the way you are. And, people who start taking hormones and then they say, oh, well, I'm gay now. I'm like, no, you're just more open to exploring it. Because, if you are a female going to male and you liked men as a female, so when you become male, you would be seen as a gay male, because people judge sexuality based on what you are attracted to. And because now you are seen as male, you are now considered gay, but if you were a female going to male and then suddenly say, oh, I like females, I think there's something else involved there. I think, one, you're trying to fit into society by being a straight male. Okay, now that you've transitioned into male, you go after females because then you look normal, quote unquote. Two, like Raina said, I think you're bisexual, and you just now feel more comfortable exploring that. I really don't think hormones make you attracted to the other sex. They may change your sexual appetite in, how you might respond, so they might awaken, desires that you already had, but they don't change you. They don't change your orientation. Like I said, they may heighten your experience. They may heighten your awareness of those feelings, but they don't make you gay. And it is kind of, I think it's kind of ridiculous that people think that. Like I said, I just think it kind of enhances it, what was already there. Or in some cases decreases it. Supposedly testosterone will raise your sex drive. I haven't experienced that, so at least not yet. And like I said, I'm just restarting on injections, so maybe in time it'll come. we'll find out. So, but yeah, so that's my coming out story. Very plain, simple, to the point. And keep watching Raina, and come by my channel, and hopefully I'll put something up without having to have Raina's prompting. Otherwise, keep an eye out, and we'll announce something in regards to this channel that we're going to do together. And again, any questions, feel free to ask. Like I said, look on the other YouTube channels. I'll eventually put something down below. That sounded kind of dirty, doesn't it? Put something down below. Anyway, and down in, as Wheezy Waiter says, down the doobly-doo, I'll put some links to some other channels that you can check out. But until then, have a good night, and thanks for watching. Bye.